I I thought that today I would talk about something a little bit lighter than last time, which isn't really a big leap because that was pretty awful. Sorry about that. But I was thinking about it today because today is the last day of the month, and for me, that means that I have to get ready to pay my rent and a number of bills and, sort of budget my month out. Um, and so finances are like in my mind right now. Luckily, I am working and I'm grateful for that. I'm very, very grateful. I believe gratitude is a big part of my life because uh, 15 years ago, 2010, I lost my home and finances were really, really bad for me. So to be financially stable right now, I'm not underwater. I'm still able to pay my rent. However, this month, I did have to dip into savings to pay my bills and rent. But I'm still grateful because I learned from 2010 to have savings. The savings that I'm dipping into was supposed to be my retirement savings, but it's not that much. I mean, it's enough, but it's not. Anyways, so finances. Here's was something that came into my mind. How we keep track of things. I mentioned 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I used to write checks for everything because the internet was still, compared to now, in its infancy, and there were very few companies and such that people were paying, prior to 2010, like in 2005, 6, 7, 8, there weren't, it wasn't a common thing to pay online, and a lot of people were very reluctant to buy things online and to pay for things with a credit card online or to connect their checking account with like a utility bill or a credit card. That was very unusual and people were very skeptical. So where am I? So back there, so back in the day, I would write checks, and we had these things called checkbooks, and we would write an actual paper check. You've probably heard of them and seen them. And then we would have a register, which is a little booklet that would go with the checks, and you would keep track of the checks you wrote. And then you could keep a running balance. And I think young people today have no idea what that even is, unless they go online and look at what the bank does for them, which is keep a running balance of all their charges on their debit cards, or however they're doing it. But it's all on cards, and that's what we used to do by hand. Well, so I think about like how am I keeping track? I don't have a check register anymore. I don't have that. Since around 2010, 2011, I have been paying everything online. Everything. Rent, utilities, credit, everything. But I have to keep track of it here, or oh gosh, I have little flyers that like envelopes, pieces of paper, all kinds of crap that I write stuff on, and then I staple it together, and then I shove it in a drawer. So that's now my filing system, because there's no, unless you're gonna get an Excel spreadsheet which I'm too lazy to do, and put all your bills in there every month. I mean, I've done that and looked at what I, pretty much owe every month, but, times are hard right now. For me, times are hard. 2025 has been a difficult year. And so, anyways, that's how I keep track. That's how I keep track of, like, remembering how much I've paid, and that I have paid every debt service that I owe to, whether it be rent, gas and electric, my phone bill, my car insurance, and then, credit cards and everything there. I don't keep track of gas, fuel for my car. I do not keep track of groceries and drugstore incidentals, or prescriptions. I do not have health insurance, so I have to pay for any doctor visits, which I have every other month, and I pay for my own prescriptions just out of pocket. They do have discount codes they can put in for me, which is nice. And but I do pay for it all out of pocket, including dental and vision and all that. I pay for all of that out of pocket, but that's kind of irrelevant. I got sidetracked. Oh, yeah, here was the thing that popped up today that really got me thinking about this finance thing. Was before I go to pay my rent, I will always double, triple check. I will log on to my checking account and make sure that I've got plenty enough to cover my rent, because it's a big chunk. It's the biggest payment I make every month is my rent. Little 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, a lot of money for where I live. Well, it's not a lot for where I live. It's cheap for where I live, but it's a ridiculous amount of money. Anyways, but so I go on to my checking account, log in, make sure before I'm gonna pay the rent, which I will do tonight. But I went on just a little while ago to look at my checking account, and yeah, I've got enough money, fine, that's all good, because I went and I took money out of my savings and I put some in there to cover it. Anyways, that's good. But then I'm looking around the website, that first page that you look at, and it's giving me a breakdown of, which I'd never noticed before, of like what it suspects of this particular account. I have several different accounts with different banks. This is just the one that I pay my rent through. And it says, there's a little side thing. It says, well, keep track of your payments and your online payments and this and that. And then there was a little highlighted red part, and it said, you have spent more money than you have earned this month. And I was like, what the heck? Who AI algorithms, they just look at what is in that particular account. And connected to this account, I have a savings account. I have an account for my daughter, which was started 10 years ago. And it's just sitting there kind of stagnant, but it's only taking it. I don't know if it's only taking into my account, or my daughter still uses the account. I don't really pay attention to it. She has multiple accounts too. But how does it come off, son of a gun? How does it come off telling me that I spent more than I made this month? in that account, I suppose that's accurate. But for it to put this bold statement out there, it was kind of like, it was an affront on me. I felt badly about that. I didn't like it. I didn't like that, the bank was making judgment calls on my financial status. I didn't like that. And then it was telling me, it was pointing the finger at me and telling me, you're a bad, bad girl. I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. And then it got me thinking about a couple of the last things, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on this, but it got me thinking, and my brain is a welcoming place for a rabbit hole door. Come on down. But the interest that the banks take in, everything we have now is logged and associated with our social security number. Absolutely, 100%. And as we've already seen this year in the United States, they're getting rid of the pennies. It's only so long before they get rid of all cash. And that's just coming because most people pay for everything but like a tap and pay, your card or something. It's going to be a fingerprint one of these days. It's going to be just you versus the government. And that's a little bit creepy to think that our bank accounts will be completely transparent to the government. And they can take money out of our accounts. You know that. They can say that you owe them money and they can just reach into your bank account and take it out. Yes, they can. Yes, they absolutely can. I'm not going to go any further on that because I think that's enough about that. But I know this is probably backwards, but is anyone else a fan? And recognize that it says Roswell Records, which is the recording company for one of my favorite bands. Love the Foo Fighters. And Roswell Records is, I think, Dave Grohl's recording company, because this is sold on the Foo's website. My son gave it to me for Christmas. I love that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's enough for now. Peace out. Bye.